I'll admit that while I was open to being surprised, I did go into playing this game with pretty low expectations. After all, the developer's last MMO, Bless Online, was a failure several times over, launching and flopping on 4 separate occasions. The Western release happened in May 2018 and was met with a massive meh from most everyone who tried it. The game performed so poorly, in fact, that it officially shut down a year later in September 2019. Shortly after, they announced this new game, Bless Unleashed, which they said would be a more action-focused reimagining of the original in a brand new engine coming to consoles. Bless Unleashed launched a year and a half later in March 2020 for the Xbox One. Now, putting aside the whole idea that they made a brand new MMO in under 2 years, I can't help but feel this entire thing was just a shameless cash grab, with them undoubtedly reusing a ton of assets and just trying to squeeze as much money as possible out of the failure that was Bless Online. But let's just put all of that aside for a moment. What did people think of the game when it launched last year? Well, I didn't play the Xbox version myself, but the reviews are out and they're not so good. Since it launched in 2020, it's averaged a score of 47 on OpenCritic, faring slightly better with a 57 on Metacritic. Even knowing all of this, I honestly can say that I went into this game with an open mind. I saw Peon's video from earlier this year covering the PC port of Bless Unleashed, and he said that the combat felt good. And really, that's all I needed to hear to want to try it out for myself. I can overlook a lot of bad if a game feels good to play. And I can now comfortably say, after spending several hours with this game, I wish I could get them back. It's not completely irredeemable. Like, there were some things that I've liked about Bless Unleashed, but overall, this thing is just dreadful. I think there's no reason you would want to play this over any other MMO. Let me show you why. I can't not check this thing out. Let's try the mage. Human or elf? Go human. I love that haircut. She looks sick. I really like her. Okay, here we go. Preview costume. All right, that looks pretty fucking sick. I'll be honest. It's really stiff though. We could probably use some fabric softener or something. What is the sensitivity? Why does every game start at 1 billion? I think I can't adjust the sensitivity yet. I can adjust after the tutorial. Wonderful. This will be great. I can't move my mouse. I'm just gonna use WASD and I'll just play like, I'll just do it like this. Oh, that's a blank? I'm feeling like this frame rate is having some issues. I gotta say that right off the bat. Jumping. Control. What? Jumping is control? Why would you do this to me? Okay, animations look pretty cool. I like the little, you see the little arcane, like, rune that pops up in front of me when I cast them? I think that actually looks pretty good. Listen, I know I've been kind of memeing up until this point, but I genuinely, like, I want to give games a chance, you know what I mean? It's just there's so much stacked against this game that it's hard to be super serious about it. It's hard to not have a little fun with it coming in, but I do, like, I'm not just trying to dump on it, I promise you, all right? I'd totally be willing to. Hey, standing by the hearth, the fire heals you up. That's kind of cool. Try the blank. Okay, got it. And my 4 looks like a meteor or something. Oh shit, move. Oh. Okay, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Can I go in this cave? Probably not. This game, at least this tutorial part, is ultra linear looking. Movement feels a little clunky, I'll say that. So I've got my abilities, but then I also have the different combos of my left and right attack, and I'm not sure. Maybe are my basic attacks mana builders and my spenders are the skills? That might be the case. Space bar. Oh, spam space bar and oh, I see. It's got a weird the targeting feels a little clunky to me. If you turn the lighting to low in graphics, it will triple your FPS. Okay. I don't know. Something feels a little clunky about the combat so far. I do like the look animations and stuff with it. I actually think it actually looks pretty slick, but those fights didn't feel super smooth. All right. Change the lighting. I will say from the start, this user interface seems like they didn't consider PC inputs. Normally there would just be like, you go left and right for higher and lower, but these sub menus are very much so designed for the gamepad. This feels like it's running a lot better. Changing that lighting setting. Okay, let's talk to this guy. Hey, howdy.
Hey, you want to sing a song? I'm gonna sing me a song.
Wait a second. I mean, he's the brewmaster, so he should be drunk, right? Oh, there's the brewmaster's assistant. This guy's drunk off his ass too. Who's been giving all these cats fucking beer? Die Katzen trinken beer? You know what? It's starting to come back to me too. One of the things that I remember that made Bless just feel so unappealing is for Bless Online, it felt like I was playing a game that was already 10 years old, but not in a good way. It felt like I was playing a bad 10-year-old MMO. This is kind of cool. I'm so bummed about this lighting affecting the FPS so badly though, because this really does look pretty rough. Like, it looks so much better just on normal, but the frame rate, I don't know if you guys can tell watching this, but the frame rate takes a massive hit. Oh my God. All right, well, this is just how it is if I want a smooth frame rate. I mean, come on guys, look at this. I think I'd rather play with the shitty frame rate than look at this. It looks so bad. Oh no. Oh shit, it still looks bad. What? I think it's just the game. Hey, that art looks pretty dope. I like that like Fenrir type creature. I'm checking this out just because I did play Bless Online. I'm curious to see. It's definitely like, this is nothing like I remember. Clearly they've completely overhauled a lot of things, but I am almost 1000% certain that they reused a bunch of shit as well. Because like I talked about earlier, there's no way they made an entirely brand new game from the ground up from scratch in 2 years. Not an MMO anyways. That's not really the point. I think the big thing is like, the fact that Bless Online just kept getting released and kept failing over and over again, and then they cancel the game, they shut down the servers, which in and of itself is shit. Like, it's one thing if a game gets shut down after 10 or 15 years, but for a game to get shut down like a year after people bought it, ugh, like, come on, dude. Because even if there were few people, there were still probably some people playing that game, right? I have to imagine there was somebody playing. So I guess the whole point is like this developer's history does not leave us very with high expectations, I suppose, is the point. I think the biggest thing that I'm noticing that's making combat feel a little weird is the AI like pathing and just seems rough, and there's a bit of jank to the movement in combat, like just the way the character moves. But casting spells feels good. And I think there are some pretty sick animations on top of that too, 100%. So let me see what V does. Okay, so V just refilled my mana. What is, oh, C does something else now. C's like a buff. You think anyone will touch this game after its bad history? I mean, there seem to be some pretty devoted fans of the console version of this game. I have had people talk about this game with pretty high praise. I can see how it would be like good enough for some people. You know what I mean? It's not like there are a ton of options on console for MMOs. There are some. You know, some of the best MMOs on the market right now are there. You know, ESO is there and Final Fantasy XIV is there. Like, those are beloved games by a lot of people, but people like to try new things, right? So if this thing comes out and people are tired of ESO or Final Fantasy on console, or they played Neverwinter and they're sick of that shit. Okay, so these pyres, these are the respawn locations, and you have to actually activate them. That's kind of a cool system. I kind of actually like that. I wanted to see what I have for weapons and stuff. This whole interface is just so clearly made for console. It doesn't seem like they put much effort into making it make sense on the PC. Wow, this guy's whooping my ass. Holy sh... Boy, this can be on... Oh, no, everyone's telling me this is a brand new game, you guys. This is not... You're thinking of Bless Online. This is Bless Unleashed. And in about a year from now, it's going to be Bless Unreleased. Once it doesn't perform as expected and they've made some money, they'll unrelease it. And all right, let me do my mana recharge. I can move while doing this too, right? Yeah, that's cool. I can overcharge my mana. That's kind of a cool ability. I feel bad because even though I wasn't expecting much, I did check out Peon's coverage of this, and he was fairly positive on some aspects of it. I think the biggest takeaway I got when I had watched his video was that he had some good impressions of the combat. I don't know that I feel the same way necessarily. Parts of the combat feel good. My character, myself, attacking and casting spells feels and looks good. I think a lot of these animations look pretty dope. And it feels good for me to physically launch these spells. Like, there's a nice feel to this all. But the other half of the combat equation has not felt good. It's kind of the tough thing, though. Like, hey, you know what? This might not be someone's main MMO, but sure, you can enjoy it for free. But the problem with that tends to be you know, the most important thing that we sacrifice is the amount of time that we have. So I think it's probably valuable to sway people away from spending their time on things that probably aren't like worth it. I don't know. It's kind of a weird conversation because in that case you'd be like, don't play any video games. What the fuck are you doing? Go read a book or something. But no, I'm not trying to go that extreme. But within the world of video games, if you want to play video games, there's probably better uses of your time and better video games to spend your time on than ones that look like they're not good. And this is one that's looking like it might not be good. That makes me cry. Hey man, no, just don't let it make you sad. This is life. This is the game of life. This is the game we're playing. We know the rules. We know the end game. We all die. Now, what we do in the early, mid, and late game, that's on us. We know how the game ends. We get to decide what happens in the middle. It's actually pretty fucking cool. There's a lot of different things you can do. Depends on where you live. Well, that's true too. Yeah, that's right. Not everyone has the same starter zone. I like their fire system. I think it's pretty cool. They have these pyres that will heal you, but also act as your respawn points. And there's a bunch of other stuff I can do with these too, which I haven't really. Sit and share food. Oh, that's cute. This is a cool little system. This fire system. Change blessing. I don't know what my blessing is. I don't have one yet. Okay. So I can buy this mount for 1,000. I have more than enough. I wonder if this early access gave us more gold than you would normally have, or if you would be able to buy a mount this early. As much as this is kind of cool, I don't like getting mounts super early in games like this. All right, gotta help the farmhand here. Oh, Jesus, this thing has a ton of health. I'm gonna blow my mana and then recharge with my V, which I'm guessing I can use in combat. Probably start doing it now, actually. Because then I'm gonna hit my C, which is my buff effect, which gives me 100% chance to crit. And then we're gonna smash this. Oh, I think those are my mana crystals right there. Yeah, that must be it. I don't really like this whole CC break effect that they do, where you'll get crowd controlled and then you just have to spam buttons. I don't think that feels good, at least not on PC. Maybe it feels better on controller as a system, but I don't love how it feels on PC. That fight was kind of cool though, gotta say. There are definitely things about this that aren't abysmal, but the package as a whole is not seeming great, unfortunately. Wow, this is clearly made for console. I don't know how much work they did to port this thing. It doesn't seem like it was much. I'm liking that this space is a little more open. It's kind of cool. You know, actually, for multiple reasons, a lot of this game reminds me a bit of my early experiences with Neverwinter. Funny enough, though, I feel like this feels worse to play than Neverwinter did. But combat doesn't feel as good as I thought it was going to. Peon told me the combat was fun. I don't know, dude. Just everything about this is just feeling very mediocre for the most part. The nicest thing I can say is I think some of the casting animations look pretty sick. Like some of my spells and stuff. Like check out, I've got this big like purple burst and there's a nice little screen shake when I cast it that launches me back. I think that feels good. I got this ice spell that I call down on people's heads, which I think this looks pretty cool. And even just my basic attacks, like they look pretty cool, but doesn't feel great. Everything's like a little janky. Things are like bugging out all over the place, constantly phasing in and out of existence. Everything looks a bit uninspired as well. It's just, there's a lot of meh. I do like that they have these little chests that you can discover in the world. That's kind of cool. That's a fun little thing. Oh my God, that looks sick, dude. That is a cool looking chest piece. I like the embroidery and stuff on that. Listen, I'm playing this for science, okay? I just had to check it out. I would say that the combat isn't as awful as I expected, but I don't know that fun is the word that I would use for what. Peon, listen, I got a bone to pick with you, all right, dude? I trusted you, man. Combat for melee, I think, feels pretty good. The mage combat seems pretty bad. Is that the answer? Maybe that's the answer. Dude, I'll swap classes. I'll try it. Holy fucking shit, this armor looks sick though, huh? If we give nothing else to Bless Online, some of this armor design is pretty on point. All right, we'll see if melee feels any better. Hey, you know what? I think this already feels a little bit better, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, this actually is not bad, you guys. I think this feels better than the ranged combat did. All right, maybe now I get why Peon said he thought the combat felt good, because this feels actually pretty good compared to the range at least. All right, Peon, I forgive you now, okay? But don't let me down ever again. It almost doesn't matter though, because even if like now that I think the combat's feeling a little bit better on this character, it still doesn't change the fact that the game seems pretty like uninspired overall. Everything else has been so meh feeling. Just in terms of like the world design and the way things look, but you know what, dude? Melee combat, This ain't bad. It still is a console game. Yeah, oh, this is very clearly console oriented. The menus and everything and the hold to interact, like that stuff feels so bad on mouse and keyboard. Some of these animations look really good. Pretty impressed. I could also see now that I could see why there are people who are playing this thing on consoles that are like, hey, I'm having fun with this game. I get it. There's probably better games to be spending your time on, but who am I to judge? The game's been out on console for a while. Just go check those reviews. That should give you a good idea of what to expect. Hint, the reviews are bad. What's bad about the game at the moment? What did they get wrong? Just the whole thing is pretty, well, for one, it's incredibly linear. For some people, that might not bother you, but for me, that's definitely not ideal in MMO. It just doesn't seem to be designed very well. I believe it's also pretty pay to win, but that only matters if you really get into it, which I don't think is gonna happen. I'm glad that the combat feels better than what they did with Bless Online. Yeah, lackluster is probably the good word for it. It's all just feels pretty uninspired. Feels dated in a lot of ways too. But I will give it that the melee combat feels way better than the ranged. Like, it actually feels pretty good. Is it actually a decent game and just failed because of marketing? No, I think it's just a bad game. I don't have a ton of time with it, so I would check out full-on reviews that are out there, but my first impressions are not much going on here that would want me playing this over a lot of other games. I'm definitely at the point where I am always interested in checking out new MMOs. I mean, look at what I'm doing here. I'm spending my time playing a game that has an average of 50 review score on Open and Metacritic. Like, I could be doing anything else, but this is what I'm doing. Just because, you know, I just want to see. My expectations were low, and I think it about met them. Yeah, this does not seem very interesting or engaging. I don't think I need to really see any more. So after all of that, again, I can say that there are some good things about this game. I think that aspects of the combat were good. Specifically, like some of those spell and attack animations were really fantastic. Some really sharp, clever looking stuff that I thought was interesting. And also, as you saw, I did get the sensation that playing as a melee character overall felt better than the combat as a range character. I would also say that parts of the art design were really good. A lot of the different armor really looked pretty slick as well. I really enjoyed it. Some of the concept art and stuff, like the loading screens, I think looked pretty good. But unfortunately, I think just about everything else from what I saw was pretty bad. The overall game design and layout of the levels just feels super dated, ultra linear. The movement, both in and out of combat, was really sluggish, and combat, again, mostly felt kind of clunky, a little unresponsive, is what I would really pin it down to. The user interface is absolutely horrendous on a mouse and keyboard, interacting with the menus and all of the various sub-menus, having to hold to confirm things instead of just clicking to confirm, the scrolling through the mouse, just everything about it. The game also ran poorly. Now, I don't have the latest graphics card, but I am running a 2080 Ti, and the fact that this game is just really seems very poorly optimized. I briefly glanced through the cash shop, and that is not looking all too promising. Surprise. And yeah, like I said, I think at this point, from the time I've had with it, I feel like there's zero reason why you would want to spend time on this game over any other MMO that exists out there. Even if you are strictly a console player, for as hard as it is to find new MMOs as a PC player, it's even harder over on consoles. I totally get it, but there's some really good established MMOs that I think are just much more worthy of your time to spend playing than whatever this abomination is. I can't imagine that this thing is going to last very long. I think, like the prior iterations of their Bless franchise, this thing is likely to shut down in the not too distant future. So don't get too invested, I guess would be, if I were a fortune teller, I would tell you it's probably not going to be here for very long. So anyway, there you go. That is my look at Bless Unleashed. Hopefully you enjoyed this gameplay video. A little bit different. I'm going to try to mix these things in where I show you kind of some unedited or unfiltered thoughts, unscripted thoughts. That's the word, right? Yeah, those were cuts from live gameplay, my impressions as I was having them. And yeah, hopefully you guys liked this style. Thanks for watching. Either way, appreciate you. And I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Take it easy.